Îl știți din Pride and Prejudice, Atonement, extrem de tare și incredibil de aproape, sau Portrait of a Lady. Îl știți în sensul că tușeul degetelor sale pe claviatura pianului și miriadele de culori și de voci pe care știe să le genereze în acest instrument l-au făcut unul dintre preferații compozitorilor de muzică de film. Dincolo însă de această dimensiune a sa, rămâne unul dintre cei mai mari și mai generoși muzicieni ai perioadei contemporane. Jean-Yves Thibaudet este invitatul meu astăzi la Ediție limitată. Sunt Marius Constantinescu, bine v-am găsit! Jean-Yves Thibaudet, it's been 10 years since our previous interview, always in the astonishing frame of this Enescu festival. And 10 years later, here you are again with your joie de vivre and your wonderful stories of your family directly in the presence of Enescu himself.
My father was in Romania during the Second World War for his work as a diplomat. And it happens that every Wednesday during the Second World War, every Wednesday he was going to George Enescu's house. And Enescu would play the piano and my father would play the violin. And I have pictures and I have letters and I mean, it's a very touching thing. So my father knew him very well.
That's incredible.
Yes, it is really incredible. And I had to say it because we're here because of him. And of course, my father passed away many, many years ago. But he told me that story, and I remember seeing all those pictures and those. He had what he called his livre d'or, where he had all the guests, and this many pages with Enescu. He was every Wednesday in Bucharest. He would go to his house, and they would play music together. And my father said he would play his Stradivarius, and he said he was playing by itself. It was so good. He liked it so much. It's very funny.
It's always such an emotional experience for me to be back here. I can't believe it's 10 years already. That's frightening how fast time goes.
Yes.
But I'm thrilled to be here. I've been looking forward. And it's special this time also because I'm actually playing a phenomenal piece from Enescu that I wanted to learn for many, many, many years. I never had a chance to. And then finally, when we started working with Midori, she actually mentioned, she said, how about Enescu Third Sonata? And I said, yes, I've been dreaming to learn that piece. It's one of the most difficult pieces I think I've learned in a long time. It was hard work, but it's an absolutely fascinating piece. And we've been playing it quite a bit now, and it's magical every time. It's completely, completely magical. And to play it here is going to be so special. We've both been looking forward to that very much.
Not many people know that your family, your father, knew Enescu and also played with Enescu here in Bucharest.
Yeah, it was amazing. My father was here during the Second World War for many years. And I think it was on Wednesday. I think on every Wednesday they were meeting up with Enescu. And my father was a very amateur violinist. He was nothing professional. But he was playing with him. Enescu was playing the piano for him, and my father was playing the violin, playing his violin, his Stradivarius, and he said he was playing by itself. It was so beautiful. And we have lots of pictures and notes and signatures and all memories that my father kept from him. So it really is a special connection for sure.
So that means also your childhood is directly related and linked to Bucharest, to Romania.
Absolutely.
You have spent holidays here.
Yes, a lot of holidays. We used to come every summer here for like 2 months. We would drive from Lyon. It was a long drive. We would stop 2 or 3 times on the way in Italy, in Yugoslavia in those days. And then we'd arrive here. We would start, we had friends everywhere. My father had so many friends. We would start in Timișoara, stop there with some friends. Then we would go to, I remember always stopping in a monastery in Râmnicu Vâlcea. That was beautiful.
Horezu, probably.
I forgot the name of it.
With the pottery, the famous.
It was a
pottery.
beautiful monastery, and we would stay there for a few days, and then Bucharest would stay a week at least. He had so many friends here, and then we would go to the Black Sea, to Mangalia, and then we would stay there for a month. So it was really, and I used to speak Romanian when I was a kid with my sister. We used to speak fluently Romanian, I mean really completely fluently, and it's a shame that I just don't have any chance. But when I'm here, I mean, I remember last night I went to have some wonderful Romanian food,
yes.
and I remember on the menu I was looking at, I remember every single thing was there. I knew exactly what it was. It was so funny. So it comes back.
And actually your pronunciation of these dishes is absolutely perfect.
Oh, wow.
It's perfect. You know, sarmale, you
Sarmale,
know,
mititei,
papanaș.
papanaș, oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
But I haven't been to Romania, believe it or not, for 27 years. And I don't know, it just didn't happen. And this is the first time after so many years. So it's a very emotional, and I'm very touched, and I was very much looking forward to this trip.
Jean-Yves, as I was mentioning earlier, you have this joie de vivre that surrounds you like an aura, I would say. And when you are on stage and your schedule seems to be as busy as always, it seems that you would hardly be anywhere else, and there will hardly be any other better place for you than the stage. Is this an impression, or the stage is really your personal Eden?
Well, it is. I've spent probably more time on stage than lots of places, even my home. It is, I think you kind of grow up with it. I started very young. Actually, you know, and it's on my biography, I think it's written, my first concert was at 7 years old, and guess where it was? It was in Sinaia. It was in Sinaia. We were on holidays, as usual, and we would go sometime also to Sinaia. I remember very well. It was beautiful. All the region there, the Castelul Peleș and all the beautiful things around there. And my first concert was at the casino in Sinaia. I mean, it was a small concert. But that's what happened, my first concert. So I did play since I was very young. So it makes it a little bit more, I wouldn't say normal, but it became part of my life very young to be on the stage and in front of people and playing. And so I feel, yeah, I have to say I feel comfortable. I love it. What I love is the relation with the audience, because you really feel, people don't always understand, but you feel there's a real connection. Because of course I can play at home alone with my piano, but it's just not the same. What artists are for is to create that live concert. And this is the magic of the concert. And this is between the artist and the audience. And there's a real phenomenal, it's something magnetic. I mean, I can't explain it, but you do feel the audience. And they're different. Every night they're different. There's different, and you feel when you come in, you already kind of feel what kind of audience is going to be. And then as the concert goes, you feel you feel those things in your body, and I think that's pretty amazing. It's a real privilege, and it's also very addictive. I think that's the thing. I think it is, and that's the thing why we need to play, and we always want to play. And I think being a musician and not performing in front of an audience would be for me completely obsolete. It wouldn't make any sense, really.
You have also shown, and that is from the very beginning, the deepest respect and love towards your audience. Were you ever frightened by it?
Well, I mean, we are frightened. I think it will never be completely normal to arrive in front of 2,000 or 3,000 people and just play. Yeah. We can try to make it normal, but it's never going to be normal. So some nights it's better than other, but we do have. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but there is something. But I think that something is actually important, and I think it's part of the performance. If your performance was if you were completely flat and completely relaxed, then I think it wouldn't have that edge and that electricity and that excitement. That's what gives the live performance. That's what makes it special. So I think that the only thing, we have to get used to it, and we have to live with it. We have to learn how to control it, all those kind of things. But it is there, and we need it. I think it is really part of the entire picture.
When you're in the studio recording, there is no audience in front of you. What does replace that energy coming from the audience?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. And actually, I try to make it in my head almost like a concert. I don't like, there's lots of ways to do recordings. And I know a lot of artists, for example, love to do recording bits by bits, and they slice everything, yes, and they put little, and I cannot do that. I have to make big takes. I like to play the entire piece or one movement. And then, of course, we can do corrections, but at least we have one big take, which is almost like a performance. I cannot work just in little bits. So I try to recreate in my head somehow a concert format. I know there's no audience, so it's very difficult, but you can kind of create it. I mean, for me, it has to still be kind of a performance. I cannot just play and say, okay, let's do it again, or let's stop, or let's do it again. Then I think it doesn't have the same energy, doesn't have, it's difficult, obviously. That's why sometimes I like to have concerts that are recorded live. That, for me, is the absolute best solution, because you have the excitement of the live concert, and then if we have time, we can do little patches. If there's a little thing you want to correct, I would rather do that every day. That's always my first choice.
A world more fast-paced than ever, where everything happens prestissimo or
yes,
allegro,
yeah.
You represent the healthy and methodical andante, I would say, with a time for basically everything. Weren't you ever tempted of burning episodes and just going a bit faster?
Well, you have to pace yourself a little bit if you want to be able to do it for a long time. And I want to do it for as long as possible. So, and I've been doing it for quite a while already. So I think discipline is very important. And I know exactly, I mean, we all know we have limits, and you have to take care of yourself. It's very important. So for me, it means a lot of things. It means lots of sleep. Sleep is very important. Discipline with what you eat. I mean, I go to the gym a lot now. There's so many things you have to do besides just playing the piano. You have to keep healthy and try to, as much as you can, and it's difficult. And I think one of the worst diseases of our times is stress. As you said, stress is the absolute worst thing. People think if they eat healthy and they do all of that, but stress is the worst thing. So you have to try to control it. Sometimes you stress, of course, but I think you have to try that. And I try to just keep things under control, and I do everything I have to do, but I do it in the right time, and I try to control that, and I think it's extremely important, and it makes me feel better. And I think when I'm on stage also, I feel better. I mean, it makes your life better in general, and especially with all the travel, all the jet lags, so you have to kind of, I think really taking care of yourself is the most important thing.
You have always emphasized the importance of building up a career step by step and not being caught off guard, vulnerable. So that is also something intimately related to your just being as an artist.
Yeah, I think what's important is that to be comfortable with yourself. That's the most important thing. And in order to do that, you have to know what you need to protect, and to keep it all like this, it's quite difficult. I mean, people sometimes ask me if I have a secret. I said, if I had a secret, I would give it to everybody. It just goes as it goes. But I think I'm very, very lucky. I always say that my career went really step by step. It's not suddenly overnight I became suddenly famous because I won a big competition, or sometimes it can be so dangerous. it's so difficult. Also, nervously, you have to be ready. It's lots of pressure when you all the time play concert like this. So you have to be ready, and you have to build it slowly. And I think that's an extremely important thing. I always tell people when they ask me, when I see young performers, they ask me, I said, sometimes they want everything immediately. I said, no, it's not going to come immediately.
Take your time.
And even if it comes, you don't want it to come immediately. Take your time, it will come, and this will come, and then the next step, and the next step. And I think it makes you feel more comfortable. You feel much better. If everything arrives at once, it can completely destroy someone, because we're very fragile. Obviously, artists, we're very, everybody is, but we are also, and emotionally and everything. So you need to build something to protect yourself for that.
Tatălui Jean-Yves Thibaudet, diplomat francez mult legat de România, a cântat împreună cu George Enescu, iar Jean-Yves păstrează și astăzi amintirea verilor petrecute în copilărie pe litoralul românesc și a drumurilor prin țară cu automobilul. Astăzi, în vârstă de 61 de ani, Jean-Yves Thibaudet este răsfățatul marilor scene de concert, al dirijorilor de legendă și al orchestrelor prestigioase. Am avut și noi ocazia să-l aplaudăm de mai multe ori la Festivalul Internațional George Enescu. Este o adevărată reîncarnare a lui Franz Liszt, atât la nivel de virtuozitate și profunzime pianistică, dar și ca farmec și ca influență asupra publicului. The big romantics of the piano, that is Liszt or Chopin or Grieg, suit your persona. Have you ever thought that the music you play put the marks on the way you are?
I don't know. That's an interesting question. It might, but then I change every day because I play different music every day. So I think it might be that I think the person that I am, I think, will enjoy playing more certain music than others. And this is why eventually I end up playing certain music more than others, because I think they're more me. I feel just more comfortable playing them. And I think at some point in your life, it's a real wonderful position if you're able to choose what you want to play. And I think it's so important. It's good to play lots of different things. And also when you're at the conservatory, you have to go through all the repertoire. It's very important. But I think at some point, you should be able to really play what you really want to play, what you really enjoy, because there's no point otherwise. There's so many wonderful artists in the world, and each one has things that play better or like to play better than others. And I think we should not be forced to play something we don't want to play. At this point, I don't really look forward to that. So everything I play is pieces that I really love and I really enjoy playing, and maybe they are a bit part of myself, yes.
Still speaking of the repertoire, many of the pianists tend to specialize themselves within certain fields of this huge sea of music that is the grand piano repertoire. Well, within this sea, you seem to swim quite comfortably back and forth. What kind of breath does this require?
Well, I think I'm a very curious person in life in general, for whatever it is. I like to try things, all kind of things. I'm always curious, and if I don't like it, I just won't have it again. That's the only thing. But I like at least to give it a chance. And I think it's the same with music. I'm curious in every kind of music. I have also all kind of projects that are beyond sometimes the regular, let's say, classical shape or format. And I love those. Also collaborations, go into different world of music, try them out, see what can be done there. And I think you learn from every experience in any case. So it's always very interesting. But I'm a very like hungry person for that. I have a big appetite for all those different things. So I have no problem really going from one period, another period, or one kind of music to another kind of music. It's very natural, I think. So and I need that. I think I would be bored if I was always playing the same thing, or I need to play every season. I have lots of different concertos I'm playing, and I know some people like to play 1 or 2 concertos I think I would be really bored. However beautiful, however I like them, it's like having the same food every day. You need to change a little bit. So I like to have all kind of different things, and it keeps me busy, and then you have to work.
You fresh and
exactly.
Reinventing yourself.
And I think freshness is the most important thing. And some pieces I played for so many years now, and they're still fresh because I don't play them for a while. I take them again, I play them again, and you always discover new things, and it's really exciting.
That happens also recording the score for a movie, or doing a jazz project, why not? Or being in a partnership with a singer.
Yeah, I love all those different formats, and I need them. I think I would be bored if I was only playing concerto or recital. I just always had in my life a lot of chamber music. It's always been a very big part of my life. Playing for singers is an absolute dream. Is probably what gives me musically the most intense and emotional feeling.
Really?
I think in my soul. Well, I mean, the human voice is the only real instrument. Let's face it. It really is. Everything else is an imitation, and the piano is a very poor imitation with our, percussion instrument. Cello, violin, strings a bit better already, but still, the voice is really the ultimate. It's music. Music is singing. It's the voice, and so we learn so much from that. And playing with a singer is just an absolute. It's an absolute. For me, it's an absolute dream, and it's really what gives me the most pleasure. So I do it. I try to do it as regularly as I can. And I was actually speaking through text and WhatsApp regularly. And recently, it's a very funny thing. We have the same birthday with Angela Gheorghiu. She's also born the 7th of September. Yes. We're on the same day, which is really funny. So every year, we're really wonderful friends for many years. Every year we write to each other to say happy birthday, one to the other. And we just did it again, as usual, a few days ago. And then we again said, when are we going to do something together? So we are, hopefully one day we will do something together.
You should.
We're friends, and we just love to do it. It just never really clicked, the date and the thing is so complicated. But every year we say happy birthday, said, when are we going to do something together? So I hope one day it will happen.
And it's been mostly female voices.
I know, it's so funny. This is not a choice at all. It has been, you're right, mostly female. Now, I have a project coming up next season, which I'm very much looking forward, and this will be an exception. It'll be different. I'm going to do a few recitals with Gerald Finley.
Yes.
And I'm very, very much looking forward to that. It's going to be a beautiful program. We're still not completely sure, but we looked at lots of wonderful repertoire. And that's another thing, the repertoire with singers is so deep. It really, I think, the essence of music for me. I think composers give whenever they wrote for the voice. I think they give everything, even more than when they wrote for something else. So this is really important. And playing for movies, as you said, soundtracks, that's a great, it's great fun for me.
Yes.
I live in Los Angeles now for many years. So it is part of my life there, and I'm always looking for the right project, and I have some more coming up, and it's always exciting. What I like about doing that, beside it's lots of fun doing it, it's a different experience, I also like the fact that through those soundtracks, we are able to reach so many more people than just a classical concert. You reach millions of people immediately, and it's fantastic, because those people then come to your concert and listen to your music. And I think this is what we need. We need to really open the doors of classical music as much as we can, especially to the younger people. We still have to work very hard on that. I think it's better. I think it is getting better. But I think the movies really help for that. Now in the social medias, and I mean, times have changed so much, so we have to take advantage of that.
I'm going to keep emphasizing this joy of making music and inhabiting the music that you play with your soul and with your whole personality. On the other hand, it happens sometimes that pain or grief or doubt can also make very good fuels for musicians. Did that happen to you as well?
Oh, absolutely. We all have that. I mean, it's part of life, and I think we need it. It makes you a better person. It makes you a stronger person. And of course, it comes into the music. I think everything comes through our music, because music is my biggest way to express myself. I mean, of course, I can speak, but when I speak at the piano, it is another way for me to express myself. And a lot of people only know that way. They don't know me personally, but they hear me play, so this is their way to hear me as a person. And I think, of course, everything we do in life comes out. If you're in love, if you're sad, if you're, as you said, grief. I mean, there's so many things we go through life, and battles and difficult moments, and each of that will give you another layer of, and in the music it does come out, absolutely, definitely. And I think that's what makes us, each person also completely unique, because each one has different experiences, but you need them. If you had nothing in your life was just flat every day, smiling and laughing, and I mean, you would miss something. I mean, unfortunately, it would be nice, but we have to go through all those different, it's part of the life. And I think you learn from each of one. And when you, at the moment when something hard happened, of course, you're not enjoying it. But I think when you see it from far away a few years later, you realize, of course, it was horrible, but you realize how much you learned from it, or what it did to you. And somehow it makes you grow. And I think that's what we have to look forward to.
Shall we try some simple questions now?
Okay.
Coffee or tea?
Oh, tea. It's funny, I love the smell of coffee. Yes. I think it's fantastic, but I cannot drink. I would love to drink coffee, especially in the morning when I'm tired, but I can't. I just don't like, I don't like anything about coffee. Not coffee cake, coffee ice cream. I don't like anything with coffee. Tea, I love, yes.
Green tea?
Yeah, green tea is now by far my favorite, but I still drink black tea once in a while.
Dawn or dusk?
That's difficult. I like them both. I mean, this is a very, because it means lots of things too. So I would say dawn.
Red wine or white wine?
It's not that easy for me, because I used to like more red wine. Then I started to enjoy really white wine, and now I really like both. I have to say, If I have to choose one, I probably still say red, though.
Depends on the moment and on your mood.
No, it depends also on the wine, and there's
the food,
so
of
many
course.
wonderful wines of both. I mean, it's difficult sometimes, yeah.
Sweet or savory?
Oh, sweet, unfortunately. That's a big problem.
Control myself, yeah. Sea or mountain?
Oh, sea.
City or countryside?
I think city.
Silk or velvet?
Silk.
Jean-Yves Thibaudet este artist exclusiv DECA, în catalogul căreia figurează cu peste 50 de înregistrări. Este ofițer al Ordinului Artelor și Literelor al statului francez, membru în Hollywood Bowl Walk of Fame, un dandy îmbrăcat în ținute de scenă Vivienne Westwood și Thierry Mugler, dar și un om plin de lumină interioară, după cum aveam să mă conving în mai multele interviuri pe care le-am făcut împreună. You've already kind of answered that. Human voice or an instrument?
Oh, human voice, yeah.
Definitely. Color or black and white?
Color.
Before or after the concert?
I would say during the concert.
Yeah, I know.
How about that?
Yeah.
And if I have to choose before, after? I think after, probably.
After.
Because we are uplifted, yeah?
Yes, but it's a kind of uplifting that takes you really high. Then from what other musicians told me in many, many interviews, there is a sort of a fall.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
And
how do you handle that?
There's nothing you can do about it because it's part of our life. So we have all this excitement, all this adrenaline of the audience, and then you see the people and all those people around. And suddenly, eventually, at one point, you'll be alone. All those people are going to go, and then you're back in your hotel room somewhere. And it is sometimes difficult, it's true. But I think, again, it is part of our life. I'm used to it so much, to be on tour and to be... also, I think you learn how to be alone. I think you learn a lot about yourself, and you learn of things you like to do, and you keep in touch with your friends. I mean, you kind of have to build a different life than most people that just go home, have their family, and... So it is a difficult part of our lives, but I think we learn how to live with it. And so I don't have too much. I mean, there is definitely at some point, of course, you go down, but I don't have so much problem with it. It's very rare, once in a while, but it's very rare that it really hits me and makes me uncomfortable.
Speaking of that, after the concert, is loneliness your best ally to analyze your rendition?
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
I think we all know exactly what we did and how we did. And there's very few people. I mean, there are a few people in my life that I know, that I trust, that will tell me exactly what they thought or whatever. But I think you, at the end, you know exactly what you do. We know, we're so used to it. We don't need anybody to tell us. We know exactly what we did. Yeah.
Which is the smell that immediately transports you to your childhood or to your favorite inner space?
It's a lot. I mean, smell for me, it's an extremely, extremely important sense. Since I was a kid, it's almost sometimes bothering me because I smell things. Sometimes people say, "Oh, you're crazy." I say, "No, it smells like this," and it really bothers me. It can really bother me. I'm very sensitive. So there's so many, and I will and taste also. But I think smells are me. Last night, for example, the food, I hadn't had real good Romanian food of that quality, and being here in Romania, and there were 2 or 3, I mean, just the smell of the limitată, I mean, it's ridiculous, but the smell and the sarmale as well, there's something that immediately triggers for me, of course, my childhood. You can't help it, it's normal, because it reminds me when I was a kid and I was here with the family, and that happens with also perfume of certain people. When I like when a person wore the same perfume for a long time, because then it becomes that person. And then immediately, if I smell that perfume, I can think of that person. I feel the person is there. And sometimes the person is gone, doesn't even live anymore. But it reminds me of that person. Sometimes it can be also in a room. You come into a room and it smells something and reminds you of something. So I cannot come up with just one, but smell is a very big part of my life, yes.
What about the smell of the stage that is really particular?
Well, it is, but I think every stage has a different smell. They're not all, there's not really a smell of a stage. I don't think there's one particular, no, they're all different.
Do you have a signature perfume?
I do. I do have this. It's actually made for me, so I can't. I feel very privileged.
Yes,
but it was very important for me to have that because I think a perfume is something that is so personal, and it should be personal. And I think it should be. So I mean, there's so many now that you can really choose one that suits you better. But I think it's a very difficult and it's a very fascinating approach to try to find what should be. And it's a very interesting journey.
You are an Epicurean, I would say, that grasps with both hands what the life has best to offer. What are you most grateful for?
I think for that, I think I'm most grateful that I have this personality that is happy, that has this joie de vivre, as you said, and I always see, I think to be just positive. I see so many people, it just takes you down. Whenever they say something, they always find the wrong part of it or the bad part of it. I'm completely the opposite. I always like to find the good part, the happy part, look for something good. I know it's not always like this in life, it's true, but at least you have to try. Otherwise, you're miserable your life. And I think if we're on earth, is to be happy. I mean, that's what we're here for. So I think you really have to try yourself to help yourself to be happy. And so I think this has been given, I don't know, I think I was born with it. I think also my parents, I think I had wonderful, wonderful parents and family. And I think this is probably one, because if you have that, I think it helps you go through life so much better. It's a real big privilege.
Apart the piano, what do you need around you in order to make you feel home wherever you are, actually?
I travel with... I actually like to recreate. It's funny you ask that because I really do like to recreate, and I need it because I'm not always traveling, not at home. So I need to create places where I feel immediately cozy and comfortable and relaxed. And so I do have a few things that are in my suitcase. I also like to immediately, some people just arrive and put their suitcase and just open it. I like to organize when I arrive everything. I take everything out of the suitcase, even if it's maybe not for one night, but if I'm 2 or 3 nights, immediately I like to organize that I feel that it's my little home. That room for now is my little home. And you feel that. And whether it's a candle, whether it's this all kind of things you need that you bring with you, and they make you feel at home. I think it's important because we need, it's our only way to bring that with us because we're so little at home. I try to be more at home now, but still I'm so much on the road. So every hotel has to become my home for that moment that I'm there. So whatever helps, I have it with me usually.
You have stated that your favorite book is The Little Prince,
yes.
Right? So does music stand for the fox that has taught you to see the world?
Yes, probably. That's very beautiful. I never thought of that, but I think it is true because music is probably one of the greatest gift that we have in our lives for everybody, those performing, those listening. If you think if the world has no music, I think it would be such a strange world. They would really miss something. So many people and so many music. It doesn't matter what kind of music. It's just music in general, and it's been there since the beginning of times, whatever music it was. So it definitely, I think, you learn a lot about music. You can also tell people a lot about music, and I think we can express ourselves with music. And I think we can, it's been proven now scientifically that music helps also like therapy. It helps for the brain, it helps for disease, it helps. It is quite fascinating. I mean, music is a very powerful thing. And I think this is one of our biggest privilege, again, is to be able to do it and to be able to share it with people and give them sometimes. I think for me, I always say the most beautiful compliment is after a concert when somebody comes to me and say, I'm going through a very difficult part in my life, or I lost my husband, or whatever it is, or my mother is very sick, and they tell you, and for 2 hours, you made me forget everything. And you feel, my God, this is incredible. What a gift that I have, that you can make people feel better, take them to a better world for an hour, half an hour, it doesn't matter. But if you can do that, I think that's fantastic.
Music is, after all, made out of sounds and silences as well. Well, if you were the sound, what makes the silence for your inner music?
Oh, that's not an easy question. Silence is actually one of the most important things in music, funny enough.
Yeah.
Because without the silence, there wouldn't be sound.
Of course.
So we need both.
Yes.
So silence is very, very important. I'm still not sure how to answer this question. So if I was the sound,
don't make me wait for another 10 years to answer to answer the question.
If I were the sound,
yes. What would the silence be? So, or who would the silence be?
I don't know. I think you might have to wait until then. But maybe I'll be here before 10 years. I promise. I'll come back sooner.
Can you actually separate yourself from yourself when playing?
No, while playing, I can't because I'm so concentrated. While I'm playing, I'm in a different world. I mean, nothing, very often things happen like noise and I don't even hear them because you're so highly concentrated. It's kind of, you have to kind of close everything around you. You just are in your world, which I think is important. Now, if later I look back, as I said, I listen, then obviously, yes, I can really take it and listen to myself and listen like if it was somebody else playing and criticize and say, I don't like this, I like this, and you have to. I think it's very important. Yeah.
People can let us down. Music can as well?
No. This is why music is so important, so wonderful. I think music is your best friend in life and always will. Music will never, how could music let you down? It's impossible. Music only lifts you up, only gives you pleasure, only makes you happy, only... whatever music, sometimes you want to listen to sad music, but it still makes you happy because you want to listen to that music. You need it at that moment. So I think music, that's why music is international. It's the only language that you can speak with everybody everywhere. They don't need to know anything. You don't need, I always tell people, you don't need to know about music to understand it and to appreciate it. Some people are afraid, they say, oh, I don't go to a concert because I think I don't understand. I said, there's nothing to understand. You just sit, you open your ears, and you enjoy. You don't have to know anything. And this is the beauty of music. That's why music is your best friend. And sometimes people learn music when they're young and then they don't become a musician, but that's not important. The fact that they learn music, they will keep it. It will be with them all their life as a friend. They will never lose it. And I think it's so great.
Are you a good listener?
I'm a very good listener. I love to listen to music, and I listen to all kind of music. I listen a lot. I do have some time when I need silence also. I don't understand sometimes, some people and I do love music, as I said, but sometimes I don't like if people put music as a background, like you would put a little light in the back, just to have a little light. I think music should be listened to, not just as a background, but should be appreciated. You should listen to with intelligence and try to... I mean, it can also be relaxing, it's not that, but I don't like this kind of music that is there just to make a noise. This, to me, it can be actually even... Like sometimes you go to a restaurant and there's always this kind of background music. I don't need it at that point. Sometimes I just don't need it. But if I want it, and I do want it a lot, I have lots of music, yes.
Do you ever play just for your own sheer pleasure?
Oh, I do, all the time. Every day I play for my own sheer pleasure. Oh, absolutely. I mean, playing is a pleasure. In any case, I practice. I actually enjoy practicing too. But sometimes I finish practicing and then I will just either improvise or take another piece that I don't play at that moment, but just play some pages of it. Oh, absolutely. I mean, the piano is definitely my best friend. I mean, it's my longest friend. It's been with me since I'm 5 years old. So I've been playing piano from that day all the time. So it is really, it's amazing. It's really an amazing experience.
Doamnelor, domnilor, ediția limitată de astăzi se închide aici. Sunt Marius Constantinescu, trăiți nelimitat!